My wife was trying to develop a new drug for my father when a fire suddenly broke out, and she lost her eyesight and the baby in her womb. Devastated, I started delivering and doing hard labor on construction sites, determined to cure her eyes. After working hard to save enough money, I found out that she was meeting with her first love. You went so far as to create a fire to cure her, made yourself miscarry, lied to Ethan Caldwell to make him go blind, and tested the drug on his father's body, causing him to suffer until his organs failed and he died. Aren't you afraid Ethan Caldwell will find out? The wife took off her sunglasses, and her eyes were especially bright. I promised you I'd make you better no matter what it took. And trading their lives for your new life made the deal worth it. Tears blurred the vision. The emotion I thought I was going to return actually felt like a knife with poison. Luna Sinclair gently touched Victor Langston's face, pressing her fingers together as if she was a little nervous. The data collection on the new drug is complete, and I did 10 more trials with Ethan Caldwell last night, and she didn't roll around on the floor in as much pain this time as she did before. If it wasn't for all the money Ethan Caldwell gave me, I might not have lasted, but that's okay. It's all necessary payment, and it's worth paying whatever it takes as long as you can recover. She sounded so relaxed that it was like she was talking, saying things that couldn't be simpler. I leaned back against the door, my hands shaking uncontrollably and my mind in turmoil. It was at that moment that Victor suddenly tightened his grip on her. "Luna, I really appreciate it. However, are you still going to continue to stay by his side and pretend to be invisible? This is a big deal. Wouldn't it be a big trouble if he finds out?" Luna reached out to cover his mouth and said in a very firm tone, "I spent all my money on drug development, and the cost of your subsequent treatment is not small. So I still have to stay by his side to plan for your future. His father is no longer around, but I traded my child's life for it, and this debt has been paid." As for the future, Luna didn't finish her words when Victor suddenly kissed her. I felt a stabbing pain in my heart, like being stabbed with a needle, and the pain took my breath away. Stumbling, I ran out the door. The bitterness in my heart came out like a flood that broke the dike. At that time, my father was in desperate need of special medicine for kidney failure, and Luna, who was a pharmaceutical technician, was in tears trying to save him. At that time, she was pregnant with our child and used to say that when Dad got well, the child would be the first to be called Grandpa. I felt so touched in my heart that I sold everything I could to support her. Unexpectedly, in the end, there came the bad news of Dad's death and a fire in the lab. Luna lost her eyesight and we lost our baby, so the shock was too much. My mom got sick because of it. I was in a lot of pain, and Luna held my hand and said, "It's okay to lose an eye, you can always have another baby." What I regretted most was not having my dad around. The seriousness on her face as she dried the tears I was shedding with her hand gave me strength in this difficult time. Right now, though, all the trials and tribulations I'm going through are an elaborate trap she's set up for Victor. I hastily wiped my face and returned home. Luna was waiting for me to feed her as usual. "Ethan Caldwell, you're finally back. I'm starving from my shots this morning." She playfully rubbed her stomach and waited with open arms for me to give her a hug. Instead of responding as warmly as before, I put the meal I bought in front of her and said, "I'm busy today. I didn't have time to make it, so you can just eat whatever you want." Luna's eyes darkened for a moment, and an anxious look immediately appeared on her face. "Ethan Caldwell, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Do you need to go to the hospital?" Her feigned concern and those bright eyes made me feel unreal. I whispered nothing, just a little tired. She took my hand and put it on her cheek, still with concern in her eyes. "Ethan Caldwell, you've worked really hard. When my eyes get better, I'll definitely repay you." Sweet voice. If it was before, I would have felt guilty. But now, looking at these hands that once touched Victor, I didn't move my hand back. "Hurry up and eat. It will get cold later." Trying to hold back my emotions, I finished feeding him. but I noticed that the original neat bedding is now wrinkled into a ball. The corners are also stained with a few short brown hairs that do not belong to me. My heart became heavy all of a sudden. I was moving cement on a construction site under the hot sun and ended up getting yelled at by a customer for being late with a delivery, while she was in bed with Victor being as intimate as she could be. Thinking of the previous times I tried to be nice to her, she always said with tears in her eyes, "Ethan Caldwell, we shouldn't be thinking about this at this time." I thought she was very upset and blaming herself because she lost the baby and couldn't get my dad back. Now it seems that her self-blame and hurt is only because the new drug development didn't work and couldn't save Victor. With a shaking hand, I lifted up the covers, and a few gels and packages were strewn across the top. I couldn't hold it back and threw up. Victor was at my dad's expense, at peace with his future. I, on the other hand, had lost it all and my home was broken. Luna carefully poured me water and gently patted my back. Seeing her face, which I used to feel so guilty that I couldn't let go of it, made my heart heavier. In the afternoon, I took my mom to the hospital, only to find that she could no longer speak. The doctor asked for the examination report. He said that my mom's heart wasn't originally good, but it was because of an injection of a drug that hadn't been clinically verified that it led to arrhythmia, as well as deafness and aphasia. My heart sank when I heard about the arrhythmia. Luna was a pharmaceutical technician and knew that my mom had a bad heart and was sensitive to drug stimulation. But she was disregarding my mom's life for Victor's sake. It was very hard to think of my dad on his deathbed, twisted in pain. After settling my mom down, I quit my job, wrote a divorce agreement on the fly, and also bought a ticket back to a city 2 days later. This time, I decided to end my relationship with Luna once and for all. When I got home, Victor was wearing a straight suit, sitting in my place, holding hands with Luna and cutting a large 14-inch cake together. Even his mother-in-law, who is usually less visible, had prepared a special dish for him. There was a lot of understanding between the hands and the feet, and it really looked like the family was getting along very well. "Ethan Caldwell is back." Victor smiled warmly. Although his eyebrows were slightly raised, there was a bit of a challenge in them. "Today is my birthday. Luna and Auntie had to celebrate for me and specially prepared a lot of dishes. Why don't you come along too?" Luna pushed her half-eaten noodles to me and said with a smile, "This is Victor's longevity noodles. You try it too." There were still a few teeth marks left on the noodles. I felt a bit uncomfortable and pushed the noodles away with red eyes and said, "I won't eat it." My mother-in-law stopped her work and looked at me with an unfavorable face. "It's only at dinner time and you're so picky. You're really out of shape." I've been with Luna for so long, but I can't even get a hot meal. I can't see well, and I have to bother her to take care of your uncaring mom. How disappointing. In my mother-in-law's eyes, I seemed to be nothing more than a tool to be used at any time, unable to come up with even a small amount of money. My parents were the main cause of her daughter losing her future and her child, and our whole family was like an obstacle in Luna's path. I unconsciously looked over at Luna, who had a smile on her lips and was eating the chicken leg Victor had given her, clearly able to see it but ignoring my mother-in-law's accusations. Thinking of my father's funeral, mother-in-law excitedly cursed. I secretly thought in my heart, since we all have a bad life, why entangle? Simply break up. It was infuriating. Mother-in-law grabbed the cake and slapped it hard on my face. "If it wasn't for your father's business delaying Luna's experiment, how could she have such an accident? And your mother, there's no point in her living. She might as well have been with your father earlier. Just thinking about it makes you upset." Tears filled his eyes and acidity stung them. Victor stood up from his chair in a flash, and it was then that Luna noticed that I had cream all over my face. Her eyes widened all of a sudden and she saw me clearly. Only her eyes, which used to shed tears in front of me, now had only Victor in mind. "What's wrong? Victor, are you okay?" Mother-in-law rushed to Victor's side and nervously wiped him with her nail-polished fingers. Victor gave me a small smile and said, "I'm fine, I'm not hurt. Look at Ethan Caldwell, he's useless." Mother-in-law said to me angrily, then added angrily, "Deserved it." My heart felt like it was being strangled by something. I hurriedly wiped my face and walked towards the bathroom. Luna and I had been together for 3 years and had never had a real birthday. The only other time was 2 years ago when she made a not-so-good-looking cake with leftover flour. The candlelight flickered on and off as she held the cake, unable to stop the tears. Even though it wasn't my birthday, I still felt like the happiest person ever. Now, I finally understood that the reddened eyes and the tears streaming down my face were not at all due to the disappointment of the cake being baked, but due to the regret of not being able to celebrate Victor's birthday with him. The buttercream blurred my vision and I felt tingly and hot. Victor kicked me and I didn't stand still. Falling heavily to the ground, the headbutt hurt and blood flowed everywhere. Victor looked smug. "You really think Luna married you in the first place because she liked you?" Ethan Caldwell, don't dream. What she had in mind was actually me. All these years she's been desperately trying to cure me, spending all your money and trying your father's medication on purpose. When that old man was rolling around in pain, guess what Luna was doing? The corner of Victor's mouth hooked up a smile, flirting, of course, in my bed. Although we have been separated for so many years, she always has me in her heart. She'd do anything for me if I asked, just like your mom who hasn't been doing too well. I felt a wave of anger surge through me and my whole body shivered. Victor leaned in closer. "Looking at you like that, it looks like you already know. I have nothing to hide. Luna takes videos and sends them to me every time she gives your mom a new medication. Your mom is so pathetic, with fear running down her face. She can't speak at all. It's really better than those movies. One time I was so shocked when I saw it. Luna was so angry that she made her get down on her knees and beg me, 'Tusk, Tusk, 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 Tusk.' He took out his cell phone and held it out in front of me. 'You think it's hard for you to go through so much out there every day? Wrong, your wife is tired too.' The scene in front of me was killing me. Luna struggled to present herself in front of Victor, and the humiliation and pain in my heart made me want to lash out at him. But before my hand could touch him, he sat straight down on the floor. Luna rushes over to him, and instead of her usual casual touch, this time she grabs Victor's arm with precision, his smug smile reflecting in her black eyes. 'Ethan Caldwell, what are you doing? It's Victor's birthday, and he's my invited guest. It's unreasonable of you to just start a fight like that. I didn't think you could talk your way out of a situation like this.' 'But how are you sure I hit him?' Luna lowered her head. Mother-in-law was so angry that she slapped me hard. 'Are you still justified in hitting someone? What an abomination. Your whole family deserves retribution. You've already hurt Luna, and you're even involving Victor. I'm going to teach you a lesson today.' I shrink into a ball, feeling pain all over my body. Victor leaned over Luna with a pained look on his face. He said, 'It's all my fault, trying to kindly help Ethan Caldwell wipe things.' I didn't expect that. Instead of thanking me, he'd scold me for acting like a spoilsport, only dragging others down. 'Luna, I feel so bad inside I can hardly breathe.' Luna was so furious that she yelled at me, 'Ethan Caldwell, you've gone too far. Victor already had a heart condition. How dare you put your hands on him? Do you not take human life seriously?' I couldn't help but laugh and said, 'Then how much are my parents worth to you?' Luna was a bit speechless, but still wanted to fight back. 'Don't confuse right and wrong. If it wasn't for the medicine I gave, your dad would have been dead long ago. Now you're taking advantage of me and you're acting innocent. Ethan Caldwell, where's your conscience? It's gone to the dogs.' Mother-in-law kicked me hard. I got up from the ground in pain and blood flowed from my forehead. Luna's face became stiff. She wanted to say something but stopped the moment Victor called. Finally, together with her mother-in-law, she helped Victor into the car. Watching the car go away, My heart stung as if it had been cut by glass. I briefly treated the wound and limped into the hospital. It was a mess, but I still had to take care of my mom. She couldn't speak, just burst into tears. My heart was breaking. I held her hand and said, "I'm sorry, Mom, I made you suffer." She couldn't stop her tears. Her thin hand gently stroked the wound on my forehead, trying to say something but couldn't. "I understand. I know it all. I've already lost my dad and don't want to lose my mom again. I will be with you in the days to come." Walking out of the hospital room, a burst of laughter came from the neighborhood. Luna carefully peeled oranges for Victor. Mother-in-law happily peeled apples for him. The atmosphere was very harmonious, a scene I have always longed for but could not have. "Luna," Victor glanced triumphantly toward the door. "My heart hurts. Can you rub it for me?" Without hesitation, Luna gently reaches into the collar of his shirt and presses the exact spot on his heart. The gleam in her eyes was hotter than every moment we'd spent together. "Are you really not worried about Ethan Caldwell? He's hurt too, to be or not to be. There's no need." Luna interrupted him. "With his thick skin, even a little bruise won't hurt." "But you gave me and my mom a scare." She gave him a slightly angry finger, then kissed him without hesitation. It was a sharp movement, as if she wanted to pour all her worry and love into it. I stepped back and left, thinking I wouldn't feel any more heartache, but I couldn't stop the tears from falling when I thought about the 3 years together, and the woman who said she would love me for the rest of my life. I rushed to find a law firm and gave the lawyer all of my mom and dad's exams, my injury report, and the pictures of Luna cheating on Victor. When Luna came back, it was already dawn and I had packed my bags. I don't know if it's because I'm too tired to worry about Victor, or she didn't even notice me. She didn't even notice my big suitcase. Victor's heartbeat wasn't too steady last night. "This has to do with you. It's only natural that I stayed in the hospital to take care of him. Don't think too much." I smiled inwardly. I didn't think much of it, because everything was obvious. The corners of my eyes were still a little red and swollen, the bite marks on my neck, and those tender words full of lies were all silently revealing this cruel truth. I don't care about any of that anymore. Take out the divorce agreement, the paper is only half covered. My dad's funeral expenses arrived. This money is joint. You sign it. Luna's eyes lit up and she immediately put pen to paper and signed. Ethan Caldwell. She was still so gentle, but I avoided her hand and my fingers accidentally touched my still healing wound. "You're hurt?" She turned her head and began to help me find medicine. It's ridiculous to act all flustered when you can clearly see it. In the past, for her little bit of tenderness, for her seemingly blind eyes, I worked hard to earn money and endured a lot of suffering, only to find out that it was all just an elaborate scam. Luna was getting her medicine, and before her hand touched the bottle, Victor called. "Luna, I'm feeling really bad, come and stay with me." Pop! The glass bottle fell to the floor and shattered. She turned away without a second thought and didn't even give me a look. I glanced at the house where I had lived for 3 years, carried my luggage, took my mom with me, and decisively boarded the train back to a city. After taking care of Victor for 2 days and 2 nights, Luna then remembered that I was injured. She scrambled home and saw a lawyer at the door wearing a suit and holding an agreement. Luna's face instantly turned pale. Her blindness was obvious in this moment. The lawyer pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses and spoke. "Hello, Luna. I am the attorney representing Mr. Ethan Caldwell, and have been instructed by him to now formally file a lawsuit against you for the crimes of intentional homicide, for illegal human experimentation, and fraud." He heaved a stack of papers in front of her. The bright red court seal on the cover made Luna take a step back, and she shook her head with forced composure. "I don't understand what you're talking about." Her eyes subconsciously looked toward the house, but she didn't see me. A cold sweat broke out on her forehead. The lawyer revealed a faint smile. "According to my client, you had performed some improper medical operations on his father in your capacity as a pharmaceutical technician. and also faked an accident by setting a fire in the laboratory, which caused my client's father to miss the best time for treatment. And during his serious illness, you also violated the law by injecting some unapproved drugs, which caused his organs to fail rapidly. All of these are backed up by lab test reports. Then he flipped open the folder and placed a few photos on the entryway cabinet. Luna sat on the floor in shock. She knew in her heart of hearts that she had to not do those things herself if she wanted people to not know. Now, not only was she frightened by the lawyer's words, but mostly, she was terrified that I knew the truth about what happened. My dad had been sick for 2 years, and I had put all my trust and hope in her, thinking she could help us. Especially when I saw her kneeling at my dad's bed with red eyes and tears in her eyes saying, "Ethan Caldwell can't live without his dad. And the kids can't live without their grandpa, Dad. You're letting me have one chance, and I want to keep you in their place." These words were true and very earnest. This conviction became something my mom and I held onto for countless days and nights, 2 years as one day. I saw the lights on in the lab with my own eyes, watched her wearing goggles and concentrating on mixing reagents, listening to her say with determination, despite her tiredness, that we have taken another step forward. It always felt like hope was just around the corner. My mom sold the jade bracelet that had been handed down to her to buy materials for her experiments. I moved cement on construction sites under the hot sun, just to earn more money so she could focus on her research, not only for Dad, but also to give her and the kids a secure future. But now, it had all turned into nothing. Luna sat on the floor, her body shaking all the time, and only after a long time did she pull out her cell phone and call me. But I had already blacked her out, so her phone call after phone call couldn't get through. At this time, I had already boarded the train back to a city with my mom. We had been married for 3 years, and I had proposed many times to take her back to my hometown. She always said she was busy with work, but in reality, she was quietly working on the data for Victor's new drug. Until now, she didn't know my hometown was in City A. No way, Ethan Caldwell. Ethan Caldwell. Where are you? Luna rushed into the bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom and even went to the room that was filled with clutter. She rummaged around but never found me. There were only scattered shards of glass on the floor and the potion had long since dried. It's kind of funny. She's a pharmacist and my wife of 3 years. But because Victor said something uncomfortable, she forgot all about the injured me. In fact, I wanted to ask her, in these 3 years of marriage, is it true that there is not a bit of emotion between us? When she was first abandoned by Victor, I stayed with her for 2 years. The way she was in pain, her usual stubbornness completely collapsed. She curled up on the couch and cried all night, "Ethan Caldwell, I hurt so much." I carried her back and forth through the hospital hallways, my eyes simmering red, just waiting for her emotions to calm down. She wanted to eat the shiso cake from Shingabu, and I went to stand in line at 3 a.m. for her. Despite the cold wind, thinking in my mind how happy she might be when she got her pastry, she said she wanted to see the snow-capped mountains, so I put off all my work and accompanied her on a 2,000-kilometer walk. Although the altitude sickness gave me a terrible headache, I endured it and helped her adjust her camera angle so that she could cheer happily at the snow-covered places. But what effect will all this have in front of Victor? She stabbed my dad with a needle, purposely set a fire to cause her own miscarriage, and then pretended to be blind so that I could watch helplessly as my dad suffered without being able to do anything about it. And then she acted sad afterward, making me feel guilty. It doesn't matter if you don't have eyes, you can have another child, but there's only one dad. I tortured myself for 3 whole years because of those words. I tried with all my heart to cure her. Instead, she doubled down on her deception and betrayal. Luna was numb from crying. She didn't think I already knew everything. Even more so, she didn't think I would end our relationship this way. She wondered why I didn't ask her. Why did you suddenly disappear without leaving a word? She unwrapped the sealed bag with her slender fingers, and a bunch of revealing photos fell to the floor. It was full of unexplained relationships between her and Victor. Suddenly, I was grateful that Victor took the initiative to send these to me. Otherwise, it would have been hard to confirm their relationship. Luna's fingers stopped in the air, and she drifted off for a moment as if she understood something. Then, she immediately went to Victor. At the time, he was enjoying everything that Luna was doing for him, without any regard for his relationship with me. He was sitting on the sidelines, relaxing and enjoying himself as if my pain and hard work had nothing to do with him, obviously for no reason. Yet he took away all that I had worked so hard for 3 years. Why did you do it? Luna's eyes were so red that she stared fiercely at Victor. Victor froze for a moment and immediately pretended not to understand, saying, "Luna, what's wrong with you? I don't quite understand what you're talking about. Is Ethan Caldwell bullying you?" Victor walks over to her and tries to pat her on the shoulder. But Luna raises her hand and slaps him in the face, then throws out a bunch of pictures. "Victor, why would you do that? Wasn't I good enough for you? Why did you lie to me? Why did you let Ethan Caldwell get hurt? Don't you think he's pathetic enough?" Victor touched his battered face, his eyes flashed with a hint of gloom, and then showed a heart full of sorrow. "Luna, that's not what happened. I really didn't. It must be Ethan Caldwell setting me up, yes. It must be." He grabs Luna's arm and tries to explain, but she dodges it without hesitation. "When you first came to me in tears, begging me to help you develop a new drug, you said you wanted to live, because of our old relationship. I dropped everything and was willing to help you. For your sake, I even hurt Ethan Caldwell's parents without any validation. I kept experimenting on them until they had serious health problems." Luna took a deep breath and continued, "For your sake, I also let the baby in my stomach be lost, causing Ethan Caldwell to lose the chance to be a father. Do you know how much he wanted this baby? But I gave up my hope for you. I endured physical pain and heart torture. I paid a lot of price. And now Ethan Caldwell is gone too. Victor, you're obviously not sick. Why did you lie to me?" Luna lost control of her emotions, and it was then that Victor noticed the checklist clipped inside the photo. It was unintentionally dropped on the floor during their argument. Victor's face became pale all of a sudden. His heart was a little panicked, shaking his head. He said, "Luna, I want to explain to you. It's not like that." But Luna didn't want to listen to his explanation at all. Her mind was only thinking about how to find me. Victor insisted, "Luna, don't go. Didn't you say you want to be with me for the rest of your life? Even if you don't want to leave Ethan Caldwell, it doesn't matter. You said before that you were willing to use him to take care of me for the rest of my life. You can't go. You can't leave me. I admit I lied to you, but really it's because he took advantage of the beauty and happiness that I was supposed to have. You're mine, every second of your life since college." Luna shook her head in shock. As a pharmacist, it was amazing that she hadn't realized that Victor wasn't sick at all. Self-righteous teacher who thought he was a doctor, and repeatedly accusing Ethan Caldwell of treating human lives like dirt. It was she who was truly to blame. Seeing that Luna didn't say anything, Victor knelt closer on the floor and said in a careful tone, "Luna, do you remember you said before that you didn't love him at all? Ethan Caldwell has practically nothing but a pair of parents who love him. I can give you anything you want. Remember, we agreed when we ran out of money that if Ethan Caldwell was willing to be the ingrate, we'd get everything without a hitch. Now it's so hard to get this far. You can't give up." Luna forcefully broke away his hand that was grasping his clothes, and couldn't help but sneer a little, saying, "You also know that Ethan Caldwell only has a pair of parents who love him, but now, this only reliance has also been taken away by you. Victor, aren't you still satisfied?" Luna became more and more emotional and finally almost lost control. From the first day we were together, she understood that. I would have given anything for her, but only if my parents were an exception. After all, the nurturing they gave me is irreplaceable. no matter what happens. I will never give up on my parents. However, she knew it was wrong, but without my knowledge, she injected my mom with an unknown liquid, causing her to suffer so much pain that she almost thought of lightening her life. And in the end, she even lost her hearing and ability to speak. Did she really not think about it when she did it? At first, my mom loved her as her own daughter. Knowing that she had a weak stomach, she got up early in the morning every day to boil stomach congee for her and make yam cakes in different ways. She doesn't sleep well. And my mom actually gave up the master bedroom for her, squeezing herself into the storage room to sleep. When she coughed twice, my mom immediately panicked, running several blocks in the 30-degree heat, waiting in line for 2 hours to buy her favorite pear soup, and not willing to take a break even when she was suffering from heat stroke. However, in her opinion, these thoughts were actually not as important as Victor's casual remark of wanting to, seemingly feeling that there was no way to salvage the situation. Victor directly tore his face off. He stared coldly at Luna and said, "You always say that I have harmed Ethan Caldwell. What good are you yourself? Luna, you don't have to pretend anymore. If you hadn't insisted on experimenting with Ethan Caldwell's father in the first place, he wouldn't have gotten kidney failure and finally left this world. Now you're putting all the blame on me. Ask yourself, if it wasn't for you, how could I have let his dad die so horribly?" He smiled slightly in satisfaction and clapped his hands. "You set up the whole thing in the first place. You said that as long as you set the lab on fire, even if something happened to Ethan Caldwell's dad, it wouldn't be suspected on you. But you know what? Ethan Caldwell was right outside the door that day when you told me the truth." Luna's eyes widened instantly. "No, it wasn't just on that day. In fact, many of the nights we were together, I purposely messaged him on your cell phone during the day. I wanted him to see his wife being intimate with someone else. Let him feel the loneliness and isolation I've been feeling for the past 3 years. Victor, you're out of line." Luna raised her hand and was about to slap him. But Victor caught it. "I'm too much. Then I'll simply tell you something even more excessive. These are the things I told Ethan Caldwell. How about the fact that you and your mom were pro-life for me that very day? You didn't expect that, did you? You think I suddenly came back because I missed you. Actually, I'm playing you. I just want to get back at you. Why is it that I'm suffering out there with no place to go while you can enjoy your life in peace? I don't want that." Luna sat down helplessly. She suddenly admitted that everything Victor had said was true. If she hadn't come up with the idea of experimenting with my dad's body in the first place, maybe he would have lived longer, and my mom wouldn't have turned out to be the way she is today, and our child would have definitely been born safely. Unfortunately, there are no ifs in this world. Luna got up from the ground in a sorry state as Victor stomped on her with his feet without a care in the world. The humiliation and grief in her heart was suffocating. She remembered that she had experienced similar treatment at the construction site. At that time, in order to treat Luna, I encountered a group of strong men who made things difficult for me. They told me to drill under their legs, and if I behaved well, I would get $500. I agreed without hesitation for that amount of money. This scene happened to be seen by Luna, who was delivering the food, and I was so relieved that I was lucky she couldn't see, or I would have been so embarrassed. But she wasn't actually blind, she just looked at me plainly like that. Afterward, she even took the money with a straight face. Now that circumstances were changing fast, and Victor was taking over everything around Luna while I had somehow disappeared. He didn't have a care in the world. Might as well have a pain in the ass. Luna tries to grab Victor's wrist, but he shakes it off with force. The precious pearl necklace broke in the struggle, and the rounded beads fell to the ground, as if reflecting her broken lies over the years. I gave her this necklace when I proposed to her, and now it seems like the end would be good to start here. Victor tortured her for 3 hours. There wasn't a good bit of flesh on her body. I don't know if it was for me or for herself. With the last of her strength, she stuck the needle in Victor's temple, Blood splattered everywhere, and Luna breathed a long sigh of relief, as if everything in the past 3 years had gone up in smoke with Victor's departure. The next day, Luna was arrested by the police. Mother-in-law was so excited that she shouted like crazy, "This must be a misunderstanding. It must be that bad guy Ethan Caldwell who is setting it up. How could my daughter kill someone?" She rushed towards Luna, scratching the handcuffs with her fingernails and making ear-splitting noises, but was stopped by the police. When my mom and I returned to City A, we found good jobs, and with my dad's funeral expenses and my last paycheck before I left, we bought a small 60-square-meter house. After a painful marriage, I just wanted to love myself, take care of my mom, and shine in the days to come to do the things I always wanted to do but never had the chance to do. The protection that once shielded Luna from the wind and rain was now finally able to hold up a blue sky for my mom. A week later, I appeared in court as a victim. Meeting Luna for the first time, I couldn't help but feel emotional. We had known each other for 5 years, but I had never seen her in such distress. Her hair was disheveled, and the old gleam was gone from her eyes. Wearing a wrinkled prison uniform, she was a complete departure from the elegant pharmacist she used to be. Under the confrontation, her tears could no longer be stopped. Her throat was choked with sobs, and she was never able to utter complete words. She lowered her head, her body occasionally trembling involuntarily. Her mother-in-law cried beside her and tried to bang against the wall, but was tightly pulled back by the bailiff. Victor's parents were so angry with her and Luna that they even hated to dispose of them. Victor was the only son in the family, and although he had done something wrong, it wasn't so bad that he had to pay with his life, while Luna had lost her life because of it. This resentment they could only take out on the mother-in-law. During the trial, Luna suddenly struggled and lunged at me, and the bailiff could barely stop her. "Ethan Caldwell, I'm wrong. I really know I'm wrong." Her voice choked, tears mixed with snot running down her face. "Can you forgive me, please?" I took a step back, my eyes cold, not wanting to say anything to her. Her lips were purple from crying, her hair hanging down around her ears. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I failed you. I ruined you. I cost Dad his life." Enough, I interrupted, turning my head away, not wanting to look at her. I rarely mention those 2 words for her now. I don't even know what words to use to describe them. She was as if she had been wounded, her head lowered, and she looked forlorn. After a long trial, the court finally reached a verdict. Luna was found guilty of intentional homicide for illegal human experimentation, fraud, as well as marital infidelity, and was sentenced to death, deprived of political rights for life, and required to compensate the victim's family for their financial losses. After the verdict was pronounced, Luna looked over at me from time to time, but I just turned my head, not wanting to look at her again, even though I knew it was the last time we would see each other. My mom took my hand, and I knew she was trying to persuade me that it was over, but at this point she was in more pain than I was. All those days of being tormented by Luna, I hated myself for ignoring my mom for her. If I hadn't trusted her completely and left my mom on the sidelines, would any of this have never happened? Coming out of the courthouse, surrounded by a circle of people, I heard a familiar shout from not far away. When I heard it, it was my mother-in-law's voice. No, should call her Sinclair's mom. She was beaten and hurt. Her face was bruised and purple, her hair hanging in disarray, and she was pressed to the ground by several strange men. The bald man at the head of the group had one foot on her wrist, and his other hand was waving in her face, threatening. "Luna owes us, the Langston family, her life, and now that it's happened, it's up to you, the mother, to pay the debt." I really didn't know, Sinclair's mom shouted in grief, her voice loud in the crowd. I realized that those people were from the Langston family. Sinclair's mom somehow saw me and hurriedly ran out from the crowd, knelt down in front of me and said, Ethan Caldwell, please help me. I know I was wrong to treat you badly before, to scold you and hit you. Then she continued, "Now that Luna has been duly punished, it's time for you to take it easy. Even if I was too harsh on you in the past, I still want to be able to rely on you next." She kept bowing, her eyes full of pleading. But what makes her think I will support her? Seeing that I didn't say anything, she grabbed my mom again. Ever since my mom went deaf, I rarely let anyone near her. I slapped her hand away hard, my tone firmer than before. "I only have one mom. Who are you? I don't even know him." Sinclair's mom froze in her entirety and rushed after me, with the Langston family chasing after her. Sinclair's mom kept shouting, "Ethan Caldwell, help me," but I didn't listen at all. I just pulled my mom into the car. Through the rearview mirror, I saw her fall hard, like a poor puppy, several times in a row, before she was finally held down firmly. I don't want to think back to the past. After all, bad people always get their comeuppance. Before the court execution, Luna eagerly requested to want to meet with me. Unfortunately, my decision was already set and I didn't want to have any more contact with her. Watching the sun about to set in the sky, I turned off my cell phone and put it in the innermost part of my jacket, as if I were burying that hurtful time.